Dogs are amazing creatures, and their every gesture, sound, and expression have a deep meaning. As owners, we often wonder what our pet is really trying to tell us. Understanding a dog's body language is not only a way to learn how to interact better with them, but also a way to build a stronger bond based on mutual respect and trust. Let's figure out how to interpret the signals that a dog sends us in order to create a harmonious relationship. The body language of dogs. How can you tell how your dog feels by looking at his posture, tail, and ears? Every gesture and pose of your dog can tell a lot about her mood. When you learn to understand her body language, you can not only identify her feelings, but also prevent problems before they arise. Body posture. Pay attention to how the dog stands or sits. If she is relaxed, her body will be soft and her movements smooth. In case the dog feels threatened, her body will be tense, and she may lean forward a little, ready to move. When a dog feels fear, he can sit down or lie down, trying to make himself as small as possible. It is important to notice these signs in order to respond to your pet's needs in a timely manner. The tail is one of the most pronounced indicators of a dog's emotions. When a dog is happy or relaxed, its tail will swing or stand in a calm position. It also happens that the tail is raised, and the dog behaves confidently, showing its territoriality. If the tail is tucked between the legs, it signals anxiety or fear. And when the tail is waving very fast and energetically, your pet is most likely experiencing joy. Ears. The position of the ears is another important signal. If the dog is actively listening to you or something around him, his ears will be pointed forward. When the dog feels threatened, the ears can be pressed to the head, and if it feels confident and calm, the ears will stand in a neutral position. Understanding these gestures and signals will help you better perceive your pet's emotional state and predict their behavior. The sooner you learn to understand a dog, the easier it will be to create an atmosphere of trust. Sounds are another way of communication that dogs use to convey information to us. Barking, growling, and even moaning can be interpreted in different ways depending on the context. Understanding these sounds will help you better assess what is going on in your dog's mind. Barking is the most obvious sound you encounter. When a dog barks, it may mean that it is trying to attract your attention, warn of a possible threat, or simply express joy. It is important to pay attention to the timbre and duration of the bark, to understand exactly what your dog is trying to tell you. Growling is usually a sign that a dog feels threatened or defensive. Growling can be a warning to someone who is getting too close, or a signal that the dog is ready to defend its territory. Moaning may mean that the dog feels discomfort, pain, or discomfort. This sound is often associated with situations where the dog is experiencing stress or irritation. The emotions and psychology of dogs are incredibly diverse, and it is important to understand how it works in order to create the most comfortable conditions for your pet's life. For example, a dog's joy may manifest itself in its playfulness, fast tail movement, and communication with you. Stress can also be expressed in excessive barking, aggression, or refusal to eat. Fear often leads to the dog trying to hide, or he goes to a secluded place. The best way to understand your dog is to communicate with him through games and training. Use every moment to teach her, and also to strengthen mutual understanding. Constant training and time spent together will help your dog feel more confident in any situation. Dogs are not just pets. They are loyal companions who are always there, ready to support and give their love. They are able to feel and perceive the world around them in a way that we cannot always do. As their owners, we must learn to understand their language. After all, it is through gestures, behavior, and sounds that they convey their emotions and needs to us. The sooner we start interpreting their signals, the stronger the bond between us and our furry friends will be. Sounds and their meaning. Why do dogs bark, growl, or moan? What can each sound mean? Dogs, like humans, use sounds to communicate. They can bark, growl, moan, and each such sound carries a certain meaning. And to be the best hosts for our pets, we must learn to read and understand their sound messages. Barking is the most obvious sound that can be perceived as a call to action. Barking can mean many different things depending on the situation. When a dog laps, it can attract your attention, for example, by signaling that it wants to go out for a walk. However, if the barking becomes loud and prolonged, it is possible that the dog is trying to warn you about some external stimulus, a stranger, an animal friend, or an unplanned situation. It is important to distinguish between the types of barking, Short and fast barks usually mean that the dog is happy and excited. But prolonged and persistent barking can be an alarm signal if the dog feels threatened or worried about something in its environment. Growling, this sound causes many people to worry, and sometimes quite unnecessarily. Growling is often perceived as a sign of aggression, but it can actually be a warning. A dog's growl is its way of saying, "Careful, I'm defending my territory." Or "Don't come any closer, I feel threatened." Growling can also be a sign of discomfort when the dog does not want to be bothered or disturbed. Important note, growling is not always aggression, but rather a way to express dissatisfaction or warn. If your dog is growling, it does not mean that he is necessarily aggressive. Growling can be her way of setting boundaries and letting you know about something that's bothering her. For example, a dog may growl when it doesn't like being touched, or if she feels threatened by another animal or person. A moan is a more subtle and often underestimated sound that dogs use to express pain, anxiety, or stress. When a dog moans, it signals that it is uncomfortable. Moaning can be caused by both physical discomfort and an emotional state, such as loneliness, boredom, or anxiety. If your dog moans a lot, pay attention to her behavior in other situations. Perhaps this is a sign that she doesn't like something or lacks attention. Dogs can moan in times of stress, for example, when they are unable to achieve something or are in an unusual situation. Sometimes moaning is also a sign of wanting to get something. Attention, a toy or a treat. This is also a kind of communication that aims to attract your attention. How to respond to your dog's sounds correctly. Knowing the sounds and their meanings will help you be the best host for your pet. When a dog barks, growls, or moans, it's important not just to perceive these sounds as annoying. It's like the signals she sends you. It is necessary to listen more carefully and react correctly to help the dog feel safe and comfortable. If a dog barks or growls, it's not always a reason to worry. The main thing is to understand what she is trying to tell you and take appropriate action. For example, if she laps to say "let's play," give her time and attention. If she growls, it may be a signal that she feels threatened, and you need to assess the situation. In case of stress or pain, it is important to consult a veterinarian immediately or conduct additional research. The power of bonding with your pet. Understanding your dog's sounds helps to create an even stronger bond between you and your pet. When you learn to read her emotions, your pet will feel loved and understood. This approach builds trust and creates harmonious relationships based on respect and care. Dogs are amazing creatures, capable of much more than we think. As their owners, we must learn to understand their language, to strengthen our bond and create an atmosphere of love and trust. A dog can communicate with you through its emotions, gestures, sounds, and behavior. But most importantly, she will try to tell you how she feels, and it is important to learn to hear her signals. Emotions and psychology of dogs. How can you tell if your dog is experiencing joy, stress, or fear? Understanding your dog's emotions is the key to creating a harmonious relationship. We can learn to recognize when she is happy, when she is stressed, or when she is afraid. Every condition of a dog has its own signs. And the sooner we learn to recognize them, the easier it will be to create a comfortable atmosphere for the pet. Joy. How do you know that your dog is happy? When a dog is happy, its behavior and body speak about it quite obviously. Usually a happy dog will actively wag its tail, jump with joy, and play, and seek your attention. You can see the sparkle in her eyes, and her posture will be open and relaxed. Dogs can also show joy through their playfulness. They can bring you toys to play with, or offer you their company. If the dog is happily running around you, its tail is in motion, and she's actively looking for ways to get your attention, which is a clear sign that she feels safe and happy around you. The joyful dog is ready for new adventures and is always open to communication. This type of emotion is very important for maintaining a mutual bond between you and your pet. Stress. How to recognize that a dog is experiencing stress. Stress is one of the most common conditions that dogs encounter, especially in new or unfamiliar situations. When a dog is stressed, it may show various signs such as restlessness, restless tail movements, frequent barking behavior, or it may start licking excessively. Dogs often become stressed when they encounter strangers or situations that go beyond their comfort zone. Dogs that are stressed may also begin to show signs of nervousness, such as walking in circles, trying to hide in a secluded place, or even gnawing on their paws. If your dog starts acting out of the ordinary for her, it may be a signal that she is experiencing stress. At such times, it's important to be there for her and create a safe atmosphere for her. It may be worth avoiding stressful situations and helping the dog relax through a quiet walk or a familiar, beloved activity. Fear. How can you tell if a dog is afraid? Fear is another emotion that a dog can experience, and it's important to notice it in time. A dog that experiences fear may show the following signs. Her tail will be tucked between her legs. She can crouch or try to hide. Her behavior may show signs of excessive alertness, ears pointing backwards. The body is compressed, and the dog will try to avoid a dangerous situation. Dogs often become afraid of loud noises, strangers, or other animals. At such times, they may try to escape or hide. It is important not to show irritation or fear when the dog is afraid. It is best to be supportive and comforting in these situations for your pet, allowing him to feel your confidence and care. How can you strengthen your bond with your dog through emotional understanding? Understanding a dog's emotions is not only a useful skill, but also a way to deepen your bond. When you begin to recognize how she feels, you can adapt your behavior and approaches to help her feel safe and confident. For example, if a dog is experiencing stress or fear, you can use relaxation techniques such as quiet walks or calm hugs to help him overcome these emotions. When a dog is happy, it is important to maintain his joy through joint activities and games. These moments build trust and show the dog that it is important to you. Remember that a dog's emotions are a way of communicating with you. The sooner you learn to recognize them, the stronger your bond will become and the easier it will be to build healthy relationships based on mutual understanding and caring.